So, good morning, everyone. We have now one component still pending, which is known as the Viva. So, today we'll be dealing with a little tips and tricks to how to make your Viva a little successful. Now, before we start that, is there anyone whose book review, public speaking, or case study is pending? In this session, is there anybody whose book review is pending? Right. If it's pending, please let me know so that I can have an idea about how many we still have to work about. And if you are reluctant to tell over here, you may drop a message to me on the WhatsApp so I have an idea and I can tell you what to do next if you have not done it. All right. Right. So we have a component called the Viva component, which is going to give you 10 marks. Right. So how do we deal with the Viva? I know most of you might have gone through a Viva in the regular sessions in semester 1 and 2. You might also have Viva for other subjects. So what I'll do is I'll try to focus on our subject related topics, but also you can carry along the tips and tricks to other subjects as well. All right. So I hope you have a book and pen ready so you may note down what you feel is important. So Viva. Viva is actually an oral test of what you can put into practice, what has been taught to you in theory, right? Now, Viva could be taken by the faculty who has taught the subject, or could be taken by somebody else who has taught the subject, but not to you, but to somebody else. Now, we've already done a round of mock interviews, so we are very well aware when there's a question answer kind of a session, how does it start? Right? It all obvious. It's quite obvious. It begins with the greetings and introduction. It begins with the greetings and introduction. It begins with the greetings and introduction. All right. Never forget the greeting part, even if it is the Viva. All right. So, what is the next thing that can come in line? Now, what I'm going to discuss with you, I'm going to discuss with you probable questions and how or what kind of answers do the teachers expect. Probable questions and the expectations in terms of answering. Why so? See, remember, whatever I discuss over here, it's not necessary that only can be asked, but you can try and understand the nature of the questions that are asked and how you are supposed to answer it. So, the very first thing that comes along with any subject is the assignments. I'm not presenting anything, Nisargi. It's just an oral discussion that we are going to do. Uh, all right. It's just an oral discussion. That's why I said you should have a pen and a paper ready where you can note it. Because for obvious reasons, I cannot be giving you important questions or questions for Viva. So, a little sort of a training that we can have is what I'm trying to help you with. This is what we did in the other lab sessions as well. All right. So, the obvious questions that could come would be first is related to your assignments. We'll go stepwise. Don't worry, I'll be discussing each answer a little in detail. So, the first question that would come is of assignments. The next probable question would be about the Coursera course that you did. You might have done it for other subjects as well, right? So, this is a generalized Viva thing that would be asked for every subject. Now, if we go more specific into our subject, effective technical communication. So, how many assignments have you done? If this question is asked, then we have done two assignments. We have done two assignments. The first one was book review. The second one was resume writing. First one was book review. Second was resume writing. Now listen, just by giving the titles is not enough. Remember, the agenda over here is not knowing how much you know about your assignment, but it is also knowing how much you can converse about it. So you cannot say, if somebody says or asks, right, that how many assignments were there? Two. Then you should like, you should not wait for the examiner or the questioner to ask you, can you name the two? And then you say it's book review and resume. So can you elaborate? It should not go like that. Remember, the intention over here is to see how well you can speak about something that you have done, instead of giving you an unknown area to explore. This is a kind of a known area because you have done your assignments. You very well, at least from the entire syllabus, it is assumed, because you have done the assignment, you know the assignments very well. So you need to talk about the assignment basically, instead of just labeling and naming it. Now here, the problem that we might face is, initially in the previous semesters you might have seen the teacher face to face, or whenever the viva was there, the teacher could see you, see the confidence on your face, the way you speak and all, right? Even if it was one or two words, it could be made out. But here, this time we are online. All right, so your voice is your medium of expression. So go back to our theory of unit number 1, the paralinguistic features. They are going to help you out. Remember, whosoever takes the viva for this subject has either taught the subject or has been teaching English for long duration of time. So he or she can make it out from the voice in the way you speak. Right? So please go back to paralanguage. Your voice is going to be your face for us. Right? So use them. Now, when you are discussing your book review assignment, the person can either ask, the examiner can either ask you that describe anyone, or they may label you that you tell me more about your book review assignment, or tell me more about your resume assignment, right? One by one, we'll deal with both the questions. So the first question, let's take the book review. So can you discuss a little more about your book review? So what have you done in the book review? First, you prepared a book review, a handwritten book review with the given format. And then you made a PowerPoint presentation and made a presentation in your respective lab batches, lab sessions. All right, lab batches. Now, what was the book review all about? What did you do about it? Why do you think, was it an important assignment? So you can say yes or no, whatever you wish to, and give your reasons for the same. Now, when you're describing your book review, you should clearly know the author's name and the name of the book. You should clearly know. When I say clearly know, it means that the title should be correct. The name of the author should be correct. Remember, as teachers, we know that ISBN number or number of pages is not as important as the name of the author and the name of the text. As of now, when you're going to talk about it, even if it is a 10-page book, should not matter. But you should know the name of the person who wrote the book and the name of the book. Right? So my suggestion would be, if you have a habit of becoming a little nervous, I hope you have made a book for effective technical communication. Keep a little note on it. You can always keep a little note over there with you. Remember, in presentation, we have this method of keeping a bulleted point or cue cards, not the entire thing, but cues. Right? So keep information, important stuff ready. Remember, we have been talking throughout the syllabus about being professional. So what is it, being professional? Being in a workplace situation, it means there is a pre-preparation, a preparation part before the viva. There is a during part where you perform, and then there is the after part, that's the feedback. So this is your pre-preparation, the pre-viva part, the preparation before the viva part, right? Next, you should know at least a little summary, a name of few characters of your book review. I'm sure you know it because you have done it exceptionally well when we did the book review. And you should talk about what made you select that book and how you came across the book. So Some of you have selected books from within the syllabus, some of you selected it outside the syllabus. So talk about how you came to choose from that list given, or from out of the list, the book that you have selected. A few important quotes or a few incidences. I'll say, see, remember, the viva would not be more than 10-12 minutes, but that is also a long duration of time, right? We have seen in our interviews, we have seen in the group discussion that 5-7 minutes is a big amount of time. So pick up incidences which you feel are important, because they're not going to ask you only one question and the viva gets over, right? It's a long process. So at least a minimum of 3 to 5 questions being asked. All right. So pick the reasons, appropriate reasons, and try to summarize your book into fewer words so that you may attempt other questions as well. Now let's move to the second assignment. The second assignment would be the resume. Now, did you only write the resume? No. The resume was accompanied with a cover letter, and a cover letter is always, remember, it is always accompanied with a resume, right? So the person might ask, the examiner might ask the question that, can you tell me the structure of a cover letter? You don't read out the cover letter, you tell the structure. So how do you tell the structure? The structure of a cover letter is similar to any other business letters. It begins with the receiver's address, the date, the sender's address, the subject line, the salutation, the main body of the letter, complimentary close, signature line, and do not forget, though enclosure is a supplementary part of any letter, though enclosures are supplementary parts of any letter, they become a mandatory part of a cover letter. Just excuse me, I need to take a call. Excuse me. Just give me a minute. So we're talking about the cover letter, right? So in the cover letter, though enclosure, if you have seen the theory of letter writing, enclosure is not a main part of the letter writing. But in case of a cover letter, please remember that is how the cover letter is a little different. In case of a cover letter, enclosure becomes a mandatory part. It's not a supplementary part, it becomes a mandatory part, because your cover letter will always be attached with a resume. All right. So an enclosure, what is an enclosure? Enclosure means any kind of document that you attach with your letter. Right. So this question could be a point of trick that teachers or examiners might use. That, are you sure cover letters have mandatory enclosures? Or if you forget to mention the enclosure part, the teacher might ask, are you sure this is the structure of the cover letter? Please be confident in answering yes or no, whatever based on the situation, right? Remember, you have done it. It is not necessary when the teacher asks, do you think you are correct? You might be incorrect. There is just to check your confidence level. So always have that confidence in your mind that whatever you have studied and you are speaking, you are correct about it. In case you do not know certain things, okay, sometimes it might happen, we forget. So you may say, pardon me, I cannot recollect the information, I cannot remember the information, it was taught in the class but I have missed it. All right, that's no harm. It does not affect your mark in any case. What will happen if you give wrong answers, then your marks become little affected. If not, and you apologize for not remembering a particular information, that could be fine. The questioner might ask you another question so that he or she can give you proper marks based on it. All right, so remember, this is very important. A cover letter always ends with an enclosure. This is a very, very important point. Note it down somewhere so that if it is noted, you can refer back to it. Right? It seems little hard work right now, but it will pay you off when you get good marks in the Viva. That's how I deal with my stuff. So that's the same advice I'm passing on. Next, resume. So how do you arrange information in the resume? So you begin by saying that you have first your personal details, then an objective. Remember, wherever we have gone, or whatever documents we have talked about in the professional setup, we have talked about the objective, right? So what is the objective? It is actually like the trail or the track on which a person might work to achieve milestones in his achievement of goals. Now, what about the educational information? So it is arranged in reverse chronology. Please use the proper terms and jargons. We have been using it. If you cannot recollect, note it down. It is there mentioned in the PPT as well. Refer to the material, right? You cannot say reverse order. Why? Now, because you have been through a rigorous activities of doing things, teachers been teaching you, and repeating the technical words, you should know them. At least you should know those technical words that we have learned in our course of on the duration of this course of the subject teaching, right? So you cannot say reverse order. I know it means the same, but you should use the word reverse chronology. All right, remember this point, because this is what is going to lay impact. Whatever has been taught in the theories, you are practically applying it when you have been judged on an oral test, right? Now this was all about assignments, so such questions from the assignments part can be asked. Now let's move on to the second part. The second part is the Coursera course. So for this year, for the very first time, you are the very first batch that has taken the entire semester online. Initially what was being done, there was a mixture of online offline. Online offline means a PPT was shown or a video was shown, and then things were mixed and you did something in the class, something online, but still there was this offline touch was there. Here for the entire semester we have gone online. All right, so not only for the course of effective technical communication, but for other subjects also, you might have completed a certified course from online platforms, and one of the platforms that our university chose was Coursera. So every examiner would have an idea that you have taken a Coursera course. So what was the name of it? So the name of the course that we have done with respect to ETC subject was Communication Skills for Engineers Specialization. It was a specialization course we did. Right? What is a specialization course? A specialization course has 3 sub courses. In like it would have other sub courses. In our case, it was 3 sub courses: oral communication for engineers, interpersonal communication for engineers, let's say written communication for engineers. Whatsoever it is, you should remember the name properly. You should remember the name properly, right? Now the question that can come over here is, what did you learn in the Coursera course? Remember, when this Coursera course was identified for ETC, the teachers have already gone through the syllabus part. Here, when you have been asked this question, what did you learn, we are not, as an answer, what is not expected is you telling us the syllabus. So we had to write letters, we had to write reports, we had to speak about something, we had to do a case study, we had to learn a little theory, is not what is expected. The answer that is expected is what kind of improvement this course bring to your skill set. What kind of improvements did this courses bring to your skill set? Let's say, sir, I'm very good at presentation, or ma'am, I'm very good at presentation, but when I went through this Coursera course, it taught me a few very nice tips and tricks, like, do not be general, you have to be specific. Like, initially I was not worried about the background of my PPT, but when I went through this course, it told me how the background of the PPT also plays an impact. Moreover, it also helped me learn how to convert paragraphs into bullet points. I was able to polish that part. This is just one example, okay? You may take up the example that has affected your skill set, whatever skill it was. Let's say writing skills, presentation skills, speaking skills, understanding skills, comprehension skills, reading skills, right? There is a lot of skill set which is there. Which skill did it specifically enhance? Remember, because you are a semester 3 student, it is understood that you have developed a few set of skills, right? Which skills were enhanced and polished further with the help of this Coursera course? Usually when such questions are asked, the answers that come would be, there was a written thing, there was this thing. No, the examiner already has an idea, because he or she has already helped select the course for the subject. They already have an idea about the syllabus. They're not asking you the syllabus. Try to understand that they are not asking you the syllabus. They're asking you how that course helped you become a better person. 6 months ago, we never thought that we'll be taking a Coursera course, or no, what will we be doing about our online class and all. But we have been successfully doing it. So, how did it help you improvise and enhance your skill set? Next, a question that could be asked is, because this time we have done things online. So, what did you feel about it? What are your views about online teaching learning process? So, it's good, bad. Don't say it was nice. It was, whether it was nice or not, everybody had to do it, okay? Me and you both, right? But what did you find interesting about this way of teaching? Next, questions can be asked regarding to the activities that we have done in the lab session. So you may mention the activity that you liked. Please don't say we did a lot of activities, right? That's very generalized. We want to know something very specific. So I enjoyed the public speech. I love to speak, and I thought, how will I do it? How will it be possible on an online class? But we got a chance to do public speaking. Just an example, you may take up whatever you liked as a topic. Specific is what I need when you are answering such questions. So to create a kind of a confusion, a question could be asked in this way, that your friend has cleared the written exam for TCS company, and now is going to go for a he or she is going to go for a group discussion. What tips will you give to him and her? Madam never taught us this question. It's not in the syllabus. Remember, it's just a twist on the question which says the do's and don'ts of group discussion. Similarly, the question can be framed for public speaking as well. Now, one other question that can be framed could be, you are supposed to give a public speech on Engineers Day, or pick up any other day. Okay, I'm just taking one example. You're supposed to give a speech on the importance of English. Let me take it very general, right? Uh, can you talk to us about how you will prepare the speech? So here we do not want a word to word speech from you. What we want is, we want a framework. Remember, in our lab session also, I had asked you to give me a frame. So where are you starting with? So you will say, I'll start with a quote. And maybe the teacher would ask, can you tell me which quote would you like to start with? So let's say I would start with the quote, one language leaves you in a corridor, and knowledge of two languages or more opens doors alongside the corridor. So then I'll talk about English, how is it important, the global effect, and then I end on a quote. What quote that you decide. All right. So that's the framework. I'm not asking you to give a public speech. I'm asking you to give points. Right. You might be given 1 or 2 minutes of thinking time, and then 2 minutes of expressing how the speech will go about. I hope I'm making myself clear on this part. Right, the answers that are expected are something like this. Remember, we have learned the theory of creative thinking and critical thinking, and you as engineers are considered as innovators, problem solvers, finding unique solutions, and that is what is expected. Especially, I'm unsure about other vivas, but I'm very sure about the viva of etc, that I expect a creative idea, a different perspective. Let's say, how did the quizzes and the unit tests help you in your mid semester? Oh, the questions in the quiz and the mid semester were quite similar. No, that's not the answer that's expected. What is the answer that's expected? The answer that is expected is, madam, we had an, it was a very first time then that we were giving a test absolutely online. Right? This quizzes and unit test help us explore the online platforms better. We did not have the same platform, but similar kind. So we had a good idea about it, how the questions would look, how the options would feel, look like, right? That's what maybe it helped me along with the PPTs that were provided, right? Then some other questions, few questions of nature would be, what would be, what would be like, people would really ask you that, you are one of the first few people who have gone through an entire online semester. So, can you talk about it to us? What were the goods and the bads, and what are the suggestions you give? So, let's say the good part was, uh, you could sit in the comfort of your home, and you could be there, and your education is also not missed. The bad part is you missed the classroom. The suggestion could be that, let's say our teachers gave us quizzes, but if the quiz was a little more timed, or maybe in the form of a competition, the way we have a spelling bee competition on the television, and if there were prizes given, it would be more interesting. See, this is one of my ideas, okay? How I thought about it. Now, what are your ideas about it? What did you think about it? Remember, the process is not complete without a feedback. So even the viva process is not complete without a feedback. This is a kind of a feedback taken from the students, right? Because there are two perspectives to this online teaching. One is the teacher perspective, which I am quite clear about, or the teachers with me are clear about. Now we don't know the student perspective, so we are trying to take a feedback from you. Remember, we cannot change the syllabus. The university experts have designed it, but we can always change the approach towards teaching learning of the same. So genuine approaches is what we require. And you cannot tell, we did not see many videos. Okay, she showed us only one or two videos. Here we're trying to connect the online teaching process. We're trying to make a connection. All right. So talk about things which you really feel, if implemented as from the student point of view, would have benefited you to a greater extent. Let's say in our lab sessions, unfortunately, we had less number of people and less practice timings, right? That I could also feel in this lab batch. Basically, we did not have much practice about things. We could not listen to other people answering as compared to the other two batches. So had it been more people, it would have been more fun, or we would have got many perspectives to the same problem, or many perspectives to the same question. This is what I have felt as a person. You might have also felt something somewhere down the line, right? So we want to know genuinely, what did you feel, things that can be implemented, ideas that can work out. Let's say ma'am could have helped us make two teams. One person who's asking a question, a rapid fire would help us revise nice. No time for teaching learning, just 5 minutes for the quiz, and 5 minutes, after 5 minutes the quiz is locked. Speed and all would be fun. I hope I am making myself quite clear about the kind of answers that are expected from you. Basically, that is where we actually make mistakes. All right. We are not supposed to forget the theory, but we are also supposed to play on the words, make a beautiful presentation of the same theory that has been taught. That is what will make you different, and that is what will help you gain more marks. I hope I am clear. Yeah. Apart from this, uh, there could be general questions about theories, or let's say they would give you a case study, a few minutes to study the case study, and in that case, when such practical questions are being given, they might not ask you to summarize it. They might would just ask you to point out the key problem and the solution. That's it. All right. So keep in mind, on the spot comprehensions can also happen. On the spot comprehension, you are given 2-3 minutes of time, and then you have to work on it orally. You have to speak, you don't have to write anything. All right. But don't worry, we'll be informing you about the Viva dates and all quite before time. This is what I had to discuss from my side. If you have any questions, not right away, do not worry. I'm not asking on the spot, it's not a rapid fire. So if you have any questions, please think about the Viva also from your point of view. And you have a question that, madam, what if this question is asked? How do I answer it? Right. We can work on it together so that you can perform better. It's better to practice things so that we can score good marks. Right. So from my side, the theory portion for how to deal with the Viva questions is done. Right away, I don't want you to work on any questions. You may think about it, take your time. We still have time for the Viva, right? Don't worry about that part. Think about it, list out the questions in your etc book, leave some space for what kind of answers should be there. Remember, you're not supposed to use word to word what I said. You may make a bullet point. Okay, I can include this point, this point, this point, and I know you are capable of creating your own paragraphs that I have seen in the activities that you have done. Right, so you need not worry about that part. Now, for today's lab session, what we need to do, I have seen that some of you have uh, some of you have already completed your letter writing. All right, some of you have done it, some of you have not. See, practice is what is going to help us further do things. Right, practice is what is going to help us further do things. Some of you have written 1 or 2 letters. We need to complete 3 letters. At least a minimum of 3 letters is what is required that you need to complete. So first thing that you are going to do today is within this lab session only, because I understand if I say that you do it on your own, it has not been done. In this lab session only, you are supposed to complete your letters. 3 letters. The questions have already been uploaded against your names in a folder called the letter practice. Right? You have got inquiry letters, order letters, and complaint letters. Minimum this 3 you are supposed to write. Now I know there are few of us who have already completed the work on time. The punctual ones have done it. So if you have completed your letters, you are supposed to complete your report writing. I had assigned you a question from last year's university paper. If you do not remember the question, you may go back to the university paper, find out the question, and complete the report. Now, a few of us would tell me, ma'am, report also completed, very punctual. Right? Excellent job that you have done. Then we can move ahead to writing the agenda of the meeting and minutes of the meeting. I've already shared the samples with you. You may pick up not the same kind of meeting, but any other kind of a meeting. Let's say you're supposed to draft an agenda and minutes for a sales meeting. You're supposed to draft an agenda and minutes for a marketing meeting. Right? You may select the topic on your own. That's fine with me. You may select the topic on your own. That's fine with me. But what you are supposed to do within this lab only, you are supposed to complete this many tasks: 1, 3 letters; 2, 1 report from the question of the previous year's question paper; and 3, you are supposed to write the agenda and the minutes. Am I making myself clear? Right? We'll do it right away because living it after work, the homework part is not done. We are home all the time. So you consider this as a live homework. Right? You're at home, you're doing your work. It's homework. Right? So three things which we are going to do is one, letters, two, report, three, agenda and minutes. Okay, agenda and minutes go hand in hand. They cannot have one agenda and a different minutes. All right, so I'm giving you time to do this stuff. I'm keeping a watch as well because you're not supposed to write the letters now. Forget the writing part. What you are supposed to do is you are supposed to draft the letter in the form of a Google Doc. Similarly, you are supposed to draft a report in a Google Doc. You're supposed to draft an agenda in a Google Doc. You're supposed to draft the minutes of the meeting in a Google Doc. All right, is the instruction clear for today's lab? Is the instructions clear? Yes, thank you. I'm here only. Do not worry. I'm with you only. You may start working on things one at a time. Okay, don't open up everything together. One at a time you start working. The moment you finish it, you please let me know. In case of Nesargi, I know that she has completed all the three letters. I'm supposed to look at the report writing. I do not know whether that's done or not. Yeah, she has completed that as well. So I think Nesargi, you are supposed to just do the agenda and the minutes. Right. So one by one, I'll be checking everybody's. Do not worry. I have a watch on things. So let's say Pujan, Vartika, everybody has completed the reports. Yash, Shubham, report writing is completed. Right. Similarly, letter writing also. Some of you have done one or two. A few are remaining that you complete, and then if not, let's say Vartika has also completed all the three letters, then she can also work on the agenda and the minutes. I hope. Let me just have a look whether I have uploaded that or not. Okay, I'll. So you may go back to the agenda and the minutes and complete that. All right. I'll just find out if I have a sample and I'll upload the sample for your reference as well. All right. So you may start working on it. If you have any still have any queries, you may always draft a message and I'll reply to it. Right. I'll see if I remember having a sample for agenda and minutes. I'll upload that for you. All right. Just give me a few minutes. Now you'll see a new folder which is known as agenda and minutes of the meeting, and I've uploaded the samples for both. If you see, it's actually an academic meeting, a meeting for teachers, and the minutes is also the same. Right? Whatever the agenda is written, the minutes is written according to the agenda which is written. You can have a look at the sample, and you may draft your agenda and minutes of the meeting. All right. So sample is there for your reference. So class, will call it a day. Don't worry, I've already taken the attendance. We'll call it a day over here. Thank you, class. Have a nice day.